like to introduce Murakami. She started an initiative called Diamonds for Peace, and she's going to share that information with us now. But you're probably going to need to hold it because it's not doing well from there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chie Murakami. I'm from Diamonds for Peace.
We're starting our next presentation, and I'd really appreciate it if you could give Chie your attention.
Okay, jumbo, everyone. I'm Chie Murakami from NGO Diamonds for Peace. We are based in Japan, and we are also working in Liberia. And we are distributing a brochure and a newsletter, so please take one for you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I majored in business management at university in Japan, and then I studied international development in DC. And
Hey guys, let's scatter. It's really hard to present that way.
Okay, I worked in Haiti, Laos, and then I went back to Japan, and I worked in the private sector, and then I worked in Kenya for 2 years after getting married. And I visited Sierra Leone in 2012, and then visited Liberia in 2014, and I started Diamonds for Peace. So people ask me why I started this NGO. When I received my engagement ring from my husband, I got interest in diamonds. So I did a small research on internet, expecting the happy and the fun stories, because diamonds are something you give and you receive to celebrate the happiest moment of your life, right? And then I was so shocked to know so many issues around it, such as child labor, forced labor, and environmental destructions. So because I was working in the field of international development, I started thinking what I could do, and I thought maybe we could apply the fair trade principles to diamonds. So that's why I founded Diamonds for Peace. So the vision of the Diamonds for Peace is to create the world in which all the diamonds are mined, cut, and processed with humanitarian and environmental considerations. And the missions are, one, to improve the working conditions and social status of the workers in the diamond supply chain, and to promote ethics and fairness in the diamond industry. So in 2015, I founded Diamonds for Peace in Japan, and in 2016, we founded the Diamonds for Peace Liberia in Liberia, and this year, we obtained a special consultative status at ECOSOC, United States. So as you know, this is the simplified supply chain of diamond jewelry, and our activities have two focus. One is for the upstream to support the miners and diggers' self-reliance, and to raise the awareness of the consumers, mostly in Japan at the moment. So there are several types of diamond mining, and large scale, and artisanal small scale, and the medium scale in between. And we are working with the artisanal miners, and in the world diamond production, 20% of the diamonds are from the artisanal and small scale. So I'm going to talk about the upstream activities first. But before that, let me explain you about the terms we use in Liberia. So the miner is a person who has or who is supposed to have a mining license. And the digger is a person who digs the land. And we differentiate these two terms because on the ground, these two groups of people, the miners, diggers, they are different groups of people with different interests. And there's a supporter. He's a person who provides some funds or tools for a mining project. And the broker is a middle person to buy diamonds from miners and sell them to dealers. Dealers means exporters. And they need a license issued by the government. And the dealer is an exporter, and they also need a license issued by the government. So Liberia is a small country in West Africa, and we work in the western region because that's where the diamond mining is active. So this is just a small overview of Liberia. It's a small country with the population about 5 million, and the gross national income per capita is about $600. And the major industries are mineral resources such as diamond, gold, iron ore, oil, and rubber and timber. And they have so high inflation rate, like 28% per year because of the depreciation of Liberian dollar. And primary school enrollment rate is 85%, and the poverty count 50%, and the quality of human development index is 181st among 189 countries. And if you go to Liberia, you can see mining is everywhere, but it still counts only 10% of the GDP. Why? In case of diamonds, most of the miners are artisanal, and they don't do exploration. So they dig wherever they get the license. So their mining is not efficient. And the majority of miners don't have valid license. That means they are mining illicitly, so their diamonds don't get circulated in the formal market. That means they get smuggled to neighboring countries. So in this way, the Liberian government is losing lots of tax revenue, and they want to do something about it. So the government, Ministry of Mines and Energy, developed the roadmap in 2016. And if you are interested in, you can download it from online. So in the roadmap, the government wants to formalize the artisanal mining sector, mainly diamond and gold. And the government intends to encourage miners to organize themselves into cooperatives. And I emphasized miners because that exclude diggers. And the government also tried to decentralize their governance structure to county level and to improve the accessibility to licenses. Right now, miners have to go to the capital to apply for the license, and it takes time and lots of money for them. And the government is also trying to improve the tracing and reporting the mineral production and sale. And the government, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Liberia, created this website, which is great actually. This is an online repository, and you can see a map and where the active licenses are. And you can also see all the names of the license holders, not only the miners, but also the brokers and dealers. And you can access that for free. And one thing I want to mention here is the total record is 1,122, right? But the estimated number of miners in Liberia is about 50,000. So that means very few people have license. Okay, so we started working in Liberia in 2014, actually, after I visited Liberia. But because of Ebola crisis, we couldn't do the diamond work initially. So we supplied and we donated some sanitation materials to the community schools in Monrovia during the Ebola crisis. And after that's over, in 2016, first of all, we made a list of diamond mining communities in the western region, and also in Montserrado, which has a capital, and Magibi County, where we're based. Because the ministry, and nobody had a list of the mining communities, but we wanted to have the whole picture. So our local staffs visited 166 diamond mining communities in 6 counties. So it took us more than a half year to physically visit the mining community and ask the questions like predominant mineral, the name of the mining community, estimated population, estimated number of artisanal miners, the diggers, major tribes, and religion. After compiling that list, we did a situation analysis from 2016 to 17, and we did a survey that includes the interviews with the government officers, Ministry of Mines and Energy, and CDA means a Cooperative Development Agency, and local mining authority, and miners and diggers. And we also did a questionnaire survey targeting miners, diggers, and community members, and we observed the mines and communities. And we visited 6 diamond mining communities for the survey, and we chose the communities with different characteristics and in different counties, from small to big. And about the governance of the mining, in the western region of Liberia, there are 11 mining agencies. Mining agencies like a district. And each mining agency has one mining agent assigned by the ministry. And each mining agency also has some patrolmen. They are volunteers. And Western region has one regional coordinator and one deputy coordinator. So the red circle are the mining agencies in the western region of Liberia, and the green circle are the government diamond offices. So there are 5 in the western region in Liberia. And each GDO has a GDO officer assigned by the ministry. And there are also several mining inspectors in the region. But the number of mining agents is very small, and he is responsible for the whole agency to supervise. And he has only 1 or 2 patrolmen. That's impossible. And they don't have even motorbike. So if they see an illegal miner, they cannot really chase them because, the illegal miners have motorbike and the mining agents don't. So it's very difficult for them to do their job. And for the license, there are 3 licenses for the diamond mining in Liberia. Class A is industrial, Class B is a small to medium scale, which you can use the yellow machines, and Class C is the artisanal, so they cannot use the machines, but just use the shovel and hands. And that costs $300 for a new license and $150 for renewal, and that valid for 1 year. But that's a lot of money for the miners. And for the broker and dealer licenses, there are 2 licenses listed here. So the broker license costs $1,500 for 1 year, and the dealer license costs $25,000 for 1 year, which is a huge amount of money for a Liberian. And you have to be a Liberian to be a dealer. And the dealer are not supposed to go to the mining areas. So what they do is they financially support brokers, and then the brokers support the miners. And brokers are allowed to go to the mining communities, so they buy the diamonds and come back to Monrovia and sell it to the dealer. So this is the legal supply chain of the artisanal mine diamonds in Liberia. So the miner has a Class C license, and he or she works with a group of diggers. So when they find the diamond, they are supposed to go to a licensed broker and sell it to him, and the licensed broker is supposed to sell it to a licensed dealer. But what happens is, actually they don't really care, or they sell their diamonds to the supporter who is not necessarily have the license. So there are many supporters with that license. And some have a broker license, but most of them don't. So they sell a diamond to a supporter, not licensed, and then he sell it either to a licensed broker or a non-licensed broker, and that broker sell it to a licensed dealer or somebody else who may smuggle the diamonds to other countries. So who are the artisanal diamond miners and diggers? I would like to introduce some of the results from the situation analysis that we did. So for the miners, there are some female miners. If you have money, you can buy the Class C license. And well, you have to be a Liberian to get the Class C license, and you can have up to 4 licenses. So 78% we interviewed are the male miners, and 22 were female. But for the diggers, it's a men's business in Liberia, so 100% of diggers is male. We didn't see any woman. And the age for the miners, they're a little bit old. But for the diggers, they have some young people. And religion, it's kind of interesting. For the whole country, the national census says 86% is Christians. But in the western region of Liberia, there are more Muslims. So 67% of the miners are Muslims, and 59% are Muslims. And their concept of how diamonds are made are quite different from what we believe. So we all know that the